Morning folks, welcome to the Back to the Bike Garage. I'm in the middle of, with Dale at the moment, editing our latest series of rides around Wiltshire, but just something I've been putting off for a little while, but just wanted to bring to your attention was the this whole thing around maintenance of the bike. Now, I'm not an expert in this, as you know. I'm still coming back to the bike, and I'm sure just about every one of you out there knows a lot more about maintenance than I do. But just the part of IM, and a question that you're likely to get asked on the IM test is about actually the sort of pre-flight checks, if you will, before you actually get on and ride, what kind of things you're looking at. But I've actually come up with my own version, so I don't know what you think about this, but this is what I now use, probably on I would say probably on a weekly basis, not every ride, but certainly on a weekly basis. And the acronym I use is something called belts off. Belts off. So the B is basically a brake check, so it's a rolling brake check. So basically, the moment you sort of set off, really, you're checking your front and your rear brakes. Electrics, then electrics. So that's basically all your sort of indicators, your brake lights, your horn, and so forth. Your headlights are working. Next, then L is actually a strange one, might seem, but L is for luggage. So making sure my top box, if I've got the panniers on the side, I don't carry them very often, to be honest, but are they on? Is everything in them that I actually need to be in there? Are they securely attached, and so forth? Then the T, obviously, then is I guess is an obvious check, which is tyres, which I want to talk more about actually in this film. So tyres. So for me, on the RT, I've got I think 36 pound PSI in the front and a 42 PSI on the back, so I need to check that probably, if I'm honest, I probably check that once every couple of weeks, and I certainly check it before a major ride. I've got to be honest, I don't check it on every ride, because you get a bit lazy on the RT, because there is actually an indicator which tells you whether the tyre pressure has actually shifted significantly. The S then is, again, might seem a bit of a strange one, but the S is for sort of sat nav, and also I sort of sneak in there my cameras as well, because is my sat nav attached properly? 600 quid if it drops off. Is it programmed? I've got all the waypoints in for a pub that we're going to stop at. Is the software updated? Titter after the last video, but it actually seems to be working again fine now. But also then cameras as well. So for me, cameras. So normally I've got a camera on the front. I've got a camera on the side of the helmet. So with the drift, so for example, I'm checking things like the alignment on the cameras. I'm actually checking that it's charged up. I'm checking that the memory card is actually being erased and is actually sort of fully vacant for the next lot of film. And one of my particular favourites is, for example, forgetting to plug my microphone jack in. So obviously then I get silent, which isn't good. So that's belts, and then the off then off. So the O in off is oil. Just doing a quick oil check just through the little window just down here on the crankcase. Very simple to do on the RT. Actually, and I've only had to top it up once, actually, just a little bit, and that was probably 2 or 3 months ago, I think, and there's been no change since then. And then the first F then is for fluids, so things like brake fluid, the brakes and the clutch as well. And then the final F then is fuel, obviously. So I've got sufficient fuel. And on my bike, again, I've got quite an accurate fuel gauge, seems to work quite well, but also I've actually linked that as well to my sat nav, so my sat nav will also throw up a warning as well if the bike needs fuel. So that's the way I do it. I don't know whether you've got your own sort of favourite acronyms or what sort of checks you do, but I'd be interested to know about that. Okay, so that was just by way of introduction, really. So belts off is the acronym I use, and as I say, it works for me. It's something I can actually remember. But one of the things I was thinking about was I guess in that sort of list of checks that you do, probably I would suggest, apart from topping your fuel up, probably the most regular check you're going to do is, I would imagine, is actually on your tyre pressures. Obviously, with tyre pressures, you get those wrong, then it does affect the handling of the bike. It also affects the wear on the tyre as well. And as we know, they're not cheap, so we want to look after those. And I guess, like a lot of you, when you actually check your tyre pressures and you find it's, let's say 2 or 3 PSI off or something like that, then you've obviously got to put some air in. Yeah, one of the things that I did was to buy this this Airman pump, and it's a great little unit. I have to say, it's very, very good. The only problem is on the RT you have these little 12-volt connectors, which are very handy. But the problem is, with the way the electrics are sort of set up and the various bits of software on this bike, the moment you actually plug this into the RT electrics, it won't work. because there isn't sufficient power. It's got like a little sort of a cut-off, some kind of safety protection device in there. So what I've had to do is I've actually got from my battery charger, you know, so I reviewed an Optimate battery charger, didn't I? Probably, I think must be 9 months ago now, and I've actually got the lead attached to the battery in there. So what I do now is I actually attach that, or I have been attaching that with some crocodile clips to the Optimate lead in there to take the feed directly off my battery, and that's then enabled me to actually fill the bike up. But of course then you've got the lead, you've got to attach the crocodile clips, you know. I've also been attaching it to a spare 12-volt leisure battery I've got as well, but it just seemed to me just a load of hassle really. And as well as that, you know, when you've got a few cars as well, and you know, bits of you know, other kits, you know, like tractors around the property, you know, I spend quite a bit of time actually getting tyre pressures right. And if you're like me, if you're honest, then what you tend to do is you tend to neglect it, and then the first thing you know is your tyres worn unevenly. So what I was looking for is a really sort of simple means of actually checking my tyre pressure. So enter the VonHaus digital and cordless tyre pump, which is what I want to show you now. Okay, so here's the VonHaus digital tyre inflator, 12-volt inflator. What you basically get is you get a nice bag, you get an instruction manual, you get a 240 volt charger, or I guess whatever charger, whatever voltage is operating in your country. You get the actual battery unit itself, okay, so which is this unit here, which also contains a little sort of needle adapter there for sort of pumping up things like footballs and so forth, and also you get the little sort of plastic adapter there for pumping up air beds and various other stuff that you might have around. Okay, so you've got that, and then also as well as that you actually get this device, which if you want, let's say for example you haven't actually charged up your lithium battery in there, or it's actually running out, then this is actually a 12-volt adapter which basically can plug directly into your car's sort of cigarette lighter actually. So that's quite a useful little addition as well. So I paid £40 for this, and as you can see on the back here, you basically switch the thing on. You can actually set here with the plus and minus. You can actually it will actually, first of all, when you actually set the thing on, it will actually, assuming that you've attached it to your tyre, then it will actually give you a pretty accurate actually reading of the of what the tyre is. And from what I can find out, this is accurate, I think, to within probably plus or minus 1 psi, which for me, I've got to say, is good enough. I've got to say, some of the sort of cheaper electrical tyre pumps I've actually used before have been notoriously inaccurate in this case, but this one does seem to be pretty spot on actually. So around the front here, then you've got a trigger which you can pull. It's got a little light on there which can also which you can put on, which can also flash red if you wanted to. So I wouldn't carry this around in my top box, but I guess if you're going on tour, actually, to be honest, it's the kind of thing that you probably could carry if you wanted to, yeah. But that might be useful if you did break down at the side of the road, or if you needed a light just to do some maintenance by the side of the road. You can basically program the thing so you can actually switch it on, and it will pump until it reaches the tyre pressure that you've actually set as well. So, and I've got to say, for me, this is a game changer. This actually means now that sad man that I am, I quite enjoy checking my tyre pressures, because literally I can go around my car in probably 5 or 6 minutes, yeah, and just do all 4 tyres. The bike now literally takes no time at all. So let's take it over to the bike and I'll actually show you how it works. Okay, so welcome to the back tyre on my RT. I didn't film this, but I actually put a new Metzeler 01 on, Roadtech 01 on it, probably about a month ago, something like that. Because it was just starting to flatten off actually, and I just thought with the winter coming up I might as well have some new rubber on the back as well. So I've actually put this on, and actually I checked the tyre pressures last week, but what I've just done just for the purpose of this video, I just let a little bit of air out of it just to sort of show you how this little gadget works. So obviously you're going to take your little protection cap off, you screw the unit on. Very easy to do actually, I've got to say, and it's been nicely engineered as this unit. Right, now having done that, then what you will then do then is maybe if I can just sort of zoom in a little bit here, and hopefully you can see this. So you switch the unit on. That's set to PSI at the moment. If you wanted to work in bar, then you just cycle the on button round, and it shows that's 2.45 bar. I tend to prefer PSI because I just think it's slightly more accurate in terms of the read off. Okay. And you can see it doesn't take long at all to actually put the air in. I've only actually charged this up once, I've got to say, and since I charged it up, I've done 10 car tyres, and I've probably done the bike twice actually. So the lithium-ion battery has a really good life in it, I've got to say. So you know, something that I think is quite reliable. It's got a nice chunky feel about it as well as this unit. Okay, so 41, so we're nearly there. It's fascinating watching this, doesn't it? I bet you're all on the edge of your seats now. But I just wanted to give you a sense as to what a typical refill might involve. Okay, so there we are, 42, switched itself off. Okay, I think then you push the trigger once, I think, just to sort of switch the thing off. There we are, switch the thing off. It will actually switch off automatically, but I had the there's a little gadget you can actually press there to actually lock the trigger in place if you want. So I've got the Airman and I've got the VonHaus. VonHaus, I've got to be honest, isn't a name I've come across before, but if you look on Amazon, the reviews are consistently sort of 5 stars, which is always good to see. Seems a reputable business as well, which I also like. So has the VonHaus made the Airman redundant? I don't think so, because I think probably I will still carry that, and I'll use that as my sort of emergency backup on the road, either if I needed it, or let's say I came across a rider with a flat tyre. I also carry a puncture repair kit as well. So you know, I could sort of hopefully help out there, help myself or help somebody else. But I think in terms of the garage, in terms of like the pre-ride stuff, I think for me the VonHaus is the go-to item. So I think that's probably going to just sort of stay tucked in the top box. You can see, you know, it comes again in a nice little bag, and I think works very well actually. I mean, these obviously been around for a long time, the Airmans, haven't they? And a lot of you will actually use them. But for me in the garage, this is the thing to use. So, and I think, to be honest, £40. I'm going to save that, I imagine, over the first year or two, just in terms of actually the improved tyre wear, I think. So I would strongly recommend that. So as usual, there's a link to Amazon below if you want to buy that. Makes a great sort of you know, Christmas present, birthday present, or if you just feel like treating yourself, why not? Eh? So ride safe, check your tyres, don't forget to do your pre-ride checks, and as always, thanks for watching, folks.